Welcome to the Saints, City and Me, a podcast delivering audio love letters to and from the city of New Orleans. Today, we are extremely delighted to have the King of Shenanigans on the show. Be Trusty, 504 ever, if you want to follow him. Brian, how the devil are you, my friend?
I am doing outstanding, my friends. How are you all today?
Yeah, we're all good.
We're good.
Just
good.
For those that aren't watching it on YouTube, Brian has his crown on. We did momentarily see him being crowned earlier, which was a sight in itself.
I mean, we've seen someone take the monarchy in the UK, and it was nowhere near as entertaining as Brian taking his crown a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah. It was all good. Yeah,
Right,
so we're gonna.
Go ahead, Mike.
No, you crack on, my friend.
I was gonna say, how is Carnival season treating you?
So far, it is awesome, man. I've had a great time. Last weekend was the first weekend of parades. Well, I actually, it's the first weekend of some of the major parades. That's one. A lot of locals. That's our weekend. This weekend more is for the tourists, but you got a lot of your biggest parades coming. This is what they call the Deep Gras, if you will, this weekend here. But a couple of weeks ago, so I'll back it up. One of the parades they had is called Crew de Vue, and Crew de Vue is like this. Don't bring your kids to that parade. It's just don't bring your kids to that parade. But a friend of mine, his name is Morrison. He's actually on Twitter as Doc Mo Show. He throws an annual party that is just insane. It's just amazing. And so we go to that party every year. We have a good time there. He caters everything there. He has an open bar. He has live entertainment. And then the parade just goes right by in front of his house. So it's awesome. So we did that the first weekend.
Was that the the guy's house where you were up entertaining yourself, where you're getting quite a few whoops from the ladies in the house? I think.
Oh, you mean well? So I'll tell you what happened. So the live entertainer, her name is Tanya Boyd Cannon. She is an amazing singer. Matter of fact, she sang the national anthem for Saints games. She's just an amazing singer. So he had her there, and she was singing, and she's also a friend of mine. And then she just called us up, and we started singing, and then she gave him the mic, and I had one too many drinks already, so the shenanigans just kicked off, and we were all singing, and it's just turned into a whole thing. The funny part is, one of the songs she sang is "No One in the World" by a R&B artist named Anita Baker.
Yeah.
So we did the clip of her singing "No One in the World," and I tagged Anita Baker in that video, and Anita loved it.
Oh, wow.
She replied, so Anita Baker loved that video, and now she follows me on Twitter. So yay.
Hey, I'm not sure. If I'm honest, I don't think she followed you because you tagged her in the Anita Baker rendition by somebody else. I think she saw the video of you, my friend, and thought, there's my front man. That is my front man.
Yeah, that thing, it kind of took on a life of its own. And it's funny because when I started going to the parades and I'm out and about now, people walking up to me, oh, Brian, I saw you in that video, man. You were a lot of fun. That was crazy, and it's almost embarrassing because I was drunk.
Hey,
we're familiar with that being drunk a lot as Brits, so we've got plenty of videos.
Yeah.
Look, I love it. I can't wait to come wait to come to Britain and come kick it with you guys. I've always had a love for England and Britain and everything. Like, I grew up watching Doctor Who, Monty Python, man. Like, I love all that stuff. So I can't wait to get up there and just kick it with y'all, man.
Next time the Saints are in London, you've got to come over.
Oh, that's a done deal. I'm coming when the Saints aren't playing. I got a passport now.
Hey. Yeah. We've had a few
opens
friends.
the world.
Yeah, we've had a few friends from the States who have come over. They came over especially when the Londons played the Vikings 2 years ago. It's a wondrous time. They all loved it, and we loved having them over. It's lovely to be able to bring people to spots that we know.
Well, I can't wait, man. I cannot wait to get up there and then we do this live and really cause some problems.
Absolutely.
We can make that happen.
Good. Let's make it happen. So yeah, we're like this is it, man. This is the big weekend. Mardi Gras is Tuesday. And so tonight they have the Zulu Ball, which is the primarily African American parade, and they have a big. They take the convention center and they just take over the convention center, and folks are going to be in there. It's going to be just a big party from 6 in the evening until 6 in the morning. That's how long that thing goes. Then tomorrow you have Nam Tok, which is a parade on the West Bank on the opposite side of the river. And then Endymion is Saturday evening. Sunday is Bacchus, which is your big parade. Monday is Orpheus, which is Harry Connick Jr.'s parade. And then Tuesday, Fat Tuesday itself, you have the crew of Rex. You have the crew of the Zulu actually rolls that day. And then you have there's also a parade called the Truck Parade where everyone takes a bunch of semis and they make their own floats. And it's just regular folks just decide to have their own parade. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. When we came over in 2022, I think, Mike, you was there on the Friday. I didn't get there till the Saturday, didn't I? So I sort of arrived just as Saturday was finishing up. But I know that those parades on Mardi Gras, they caused me some mischief, Mardi Gras. I wasn't in a good way.
Brian, can I just point something out? It wasn't the parades. It wasn't the parades that caused Dan some mischief.
Well, I'm gonna tell you,
it was alcohol consumption.
Go ahead. Absolutely. Like right now, I'll be honest with you, I'm drinking water, but that's just because I'm preparing. So, but look, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And if you are sober during Mardi Gras, unless you have some kind of deep religious thing or you're on medication, you're doing Mardi Gras wrong.
Absolutely. Yeah, we found that out to Dan's cost anyway.
We're all day drinking, and then
you recovered.
Down on, but at that point we went to that little bar on Gravia. That's what done me.
Which bar you went to? Which bar was that?
It's good. It's called the Little Bar on Gravia. It's just
okay.
Yeah, it's just off Magazine, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, and we just went in there, and I knew some folks in there, and before Dan had got there when we went, I'd had a really, really very good evening with them. I think on the Friday night.
Yeah.
And obviously, me and Dan turned up, and then we had a very, very good end to Mardi Gras.
There you go.
Yeah, we've got some pictures of myself and Dan at the end of Mardi Gras. By the floats. We look demented. We look absolutely demented.
Like literally, the beads are like above my ears. It's like too many beads. I just went too far.
I hope you didn't have to do anything crazy to get those bees.
Well, maybe pushing little children out the way might have been the only thing that we were doing. Brian, I'm not sure.
You can't do that.
I'm joking. We both have children. There is no way we'd be doing that. No.
The worst part of that day.
As long as the kids are good, they're fine. But if there's some ill-mannered kids, it's okay if you hit them with a little elbow right quick.
No one's gonna know.
No one's gonna know. Right.
Mike caught some ducks, some duck beads.
That's
because I really like them.
Yeah, those are nice. Those are nice catches. I have a bunch of friends that are riding all the different parades, but this year I decided I wasn't going to try and chase them down because now that everyone's getting a little older, they can't see because they're either blind because because they're old now and need our glasses, or they're too drunk to see you anyway. So I just watch the floats go by and wave at them, and I hold on to my beads from previous years. So I'm good for now. Oh, those are nice. Those are nice.
There you go.
Those are nice,
my friend.
But I like But Dan, I tell you, I do like the Christmas lights with the Mardi Gras lights. Those are nice.
I've got Christmas ones on these, and I've got my daughter knitted this for me. It's King Cake Baby.
So that is awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah.
This is I'm using this. So this year I'm going to use this. This is going to be my indicator that I need another drink. So what happens is you actually can, if you talk or touch it, it'll blink. So now what I'll do is when I need a drink, I'll just put my hand up and I'll just touch this and they'll know to send me another drink.
Just save them vocal cords. Just
right. Just
it away.
you know what it is. So, but yeah, man, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy.
Brian, do you ever go to any of the sort of after parties of any of the floats? Is that something you ever do?
Not really. I'm more of the hang with the people type of thing. Yeah. I like the dive bars. I have been last year. I went to the Mayor's Ball, which was really nice. I really had a good time there. But as far as like just dressing up and going to the balls and stuff, that's not necessarily my thing. A lot of my friends they love doing that, and it's not to say that I won't do it. It's just I'd rather be in a dive bar with a $4 drink in my hand, talking with folks and just listening to everyone.
Brian, you are a man after my own heart. You really are.
Yeah, that's just my thing. And it's not, again, I have all my other friends, they love it. They're all movers and shakers. Matter of fact, one of my friends, she started her own parade crew. So and one of my friends, he was the King of Zulu one year. So they do the balls and that's what they do. And that's just not me. It's just not me.
No, sorry, Dan.
I was gonna say when we was in town, we stayed at the Sheraton for Mardi Gras, and obviously I
like the Sheraton. That's a cool hotel.
Yeah, but they had the was it Rex? The Rex ball was there on Mardi Gras. That freaked me out. Those people were weird. Like
because they are.
They're just like in tuxedos. Like, what are you doing, man? Just go with the flow. It's like not for me. Thank you. The whole ball thing.
And I get it. I get it. There is a segment of our population where that's their thing. It comes off as elitist to me. And
yes.
And again, if that's your thing, that's your thing. So I don't want anyone to feel like I'm like crapping on it because I'm not. Because if I have to throw a tuxedo on and go to a ball because someone invited me or someone's date or something like that, I'm going. But for me just to say, hey man, I need a ticket to the ball or something like that, nah, I'm not doing that.
No.
Yeah, you got to do what you feel comfortable doing and what makes you feel like you're enjoying yourself. And if they're enjoying that, that's great for them.
Yeah,
it's not my bag.
Dude, I'm a jeans and t-shirt kind of guy. Put on a pair of sneakers and like I said, go out to the dive bar, hang out till the sun comes up, and talk to people. And that's how I get my shenanigans. That's how I do my thing. That's me.
Well, this is the thing. It was obviously myself and Dan were over in November of last year, and I think at one point, Brian, I think you reached out to either myself and Dan and said, "Oh, let me know where you are." But we
it's when we was in for Mardi Gras. No, it was for Jazz Fest.
Yeah,
I remember that. Yeah. I remember that.
We had a lot of things arranged, but without a shadow of doubt, next time we're over, and fingers crossed, and we may be over a little bit sooner than when the Saints season's on.
Okay,
we're hoping, aren't we, Dan? So without a shadow of doubt, next time we're over, we're instantly in touch with you, which actually is a brilliant segue. We'll come back to Mardi Gras in a minute, but Nathan, our guy Nathan from the UK, who went over to New Orleans for his first time this year, he joined our Discord and he was asking us for tips and hints and stuff, and we were giving him what we could. And one of the greatest things that I saw was on Twitter, he put up a post about him being over there, and Mr. King of Shenanigans got in touch with him, and the rest is history for them. Because I know did you meet them on somewhere around Bourbon and then took them some of your favorite joints?
So here's what happened. So that's just how I roll. Like, first of all, I think you guys are awesome. We never met in person, but I think you guys are great. I love interacting with you on Twitter. I love how we just talk about life and Saints, and I think it's awesome. Yeah. So Nathan and his guys, they came down. This was their first time in New Orleans. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to show them a good time. So I hit them up and said, hey, let me know where you guys are going to be. I'll join you. And so they were at a bar on Bourbon Street. And actually, that bar wasn't that bad. The bartender she was really cool. So we walked in. I walked in and I met him, and we had a round. And then I said, "I'll tell you what, I'm going to take you guys on a real New Orleans trip. I'm going to take you to a place where I hang out, where we can get some real drinks and not spend an inordinate amount of money." So the first place I took him was to a bar called Lots of Luck. Now, Lots of Luck is a neighborhood bar. It's literally in the middle of a neighborhood.
Yeah. So
I took him in there, and they walked in, and the first thing they saw was a golf video game. It was I forgot, Golden Tee is the name of the video game. Yeah, and they lost it, and they lost their minds. They were like, wait, is that a golf game? Oh, we got to go play. So they're over there playing. And the locals and the regulars, they were there. They saw them and they started just striking up a conversation with them. They were like, "Oh man, y'all from England? That's cool, man." So after a while, they forgot about me, and I was just sitting back watching them do their thing, which was fun. So then after that, Nathan mentioned that he wanted a cigar. I said, I know the perfect place because on Fridays I host trivia at a cigar bar called Whiskey and Sticks, which is actually not that far from the Jazz Fest. So the next time you guys come to the Jazz Fest, just come walk up the street. Chances are you'll see me with a microphone.
That's the bar you said to us.
That's it.
We just weren't able to get over there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I took him to Whiskey and Sticks, and Nathan had his cigar, and they decided. And actually, there's a picture of them smoking a cigar, and they had a blast. And and the first thing, because I'm just gonna put it out there, and they were like, "Well," I said, "I told them where we're going. It was majority. It's owned by, it's a black-owned bar." And they were like, "We're gonna be okay, right? Come on, man. Are you serious?"
You're with the King of Shenanigans.
You're with the King of Shenanigans. I love everyone. So we get to Whiskey and Sticks, and they meet the owner. The owner is a guy named Ken Jones, who used to be a news anchor out here. And so he was sitting outside smoking a cigar, and they just started talking, and they met a bunch of the regulars, which it's an older crowd too.
Yeah,
a lot of folks are like retirees, and they're just living their best lives. So they came down, and they were just sitting down talking to them, and again, they forgot all about me because they made new friends. They were just talking, and they had a blast, man. And then after that, I think they took an Uber home because they got a little tipsy, and they were like, "All right, we're ready." So they took an Uber back to the hotel, and the next morning they were just gushing about it on Twitter, man. So I'm really glad that they had a good time.
I mean, that's something you said there around like their reservations or things like that. But we always say to people, you've got to go beyond Bourbon Street to really understand New Orleans and enjoy it. And you can find amazing bars in neighborhoods, and people. It's not a cliche, but I always say to people, if you love New Orleans, it loves you back, which is the whole Drew Brees thing. And it goes as far as where you go, you enjoy the people that are there. They will give you so much more than you can give them just by their company. So I was elated to see what you did for Nathan and his buddies, and giving them that time. And I know he speaks about you with such high regard. Like, he really was appreciative of you doing that for him.
Well, I appreciate them, and I'm glad that they had a good time, and I'm glad that they speak well of me. I just want to look. I think it's important that if you come to New Orleans, you got to have a good time. Yes, Bourbon Street is Bourbon Street, but like Bourbon Street from Canal Street for like the first 7 or 8 blocks is just a big tourist trap, and you're not going to really get the New Orleans experience because we don't hang on Bourbon Street. I just be flat out honest with you. The locals aren't on Bourbon Street, so I met the guys. They were really nice guys. They were cool guys, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna take you on a real New Orleans experience. So I took them where I hang out, and I hang everywhere, man. Like you might like Lots of Luck is like I said, it's a dive bar. It's in the middle of a neighborhood, and it's a primarily white neighborhood and everything like that. No big deal. And then Whiskey and Sticks is black owned, but New Orleans, that's how New Orleans is. Yeah. And it really, our culture is more important than our skin color. You know what I mean? Like, we have more. Like I have more in common with a white guy from Chalmette than I would with a black person from Detroit. Because we share a similar culture, and that's the beautiful thing about New Orleans, man. So when we had a good time, man, I took those guys everywhere. I introduced them to my friends, and my friends are the kind of people that if you're cool with me, they're going to be cool with you. And everybody loved them, and they loved everybody back. And man, anytime they come back, I got them.
That's the biggest compliment I think that you can give anyone, though. If you feel that you're happy for people to meet your friends, that says a lot about the individuals that you sort of met. And I mean, I'm sure Nathan loved his first trip there, but I'm sure he loved it even more because of his ability to sort of get out of the tourist traps and sort of go where some locals hang out and as you said, like smoke a cigar and just do all that good stuff. And I'm now.
It's definitely something we try and do every.
Cool. You got to.
Sorry, Mike.
No, go on, mate.
You got to just try and every time you go somewhere, you just need to try new things and push yourself. And we do it.
You gotta,
when I take the family to New York, we just like, okay, let's get out of Manhattan. Let's go to Brooklyn. Let's go to the Bronx. Let's go to Staten Island. Like, experience these places, because actually, if you want to experience real culture, you need to go where the people live. Not
you got to go where the people live. Yeah,
tourism. Yeah, absolutely.
You got to go where the people live. You got to go where everyone's having a good time. And again, like as a matter of fact, my friend Shay, come over here. Come here, Shay. Come on, Shay. She's so dramatic. Why? Here she comes. Look, here she goes.
Shay, that was a dramatic entrance. Good on you, girl.
There you go. Put that on.
Hello there.
Shay, I was just saying
Shay.
that was a very dramatic entrance. Well done.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. I think Brian was saying, I don't know what Brian was actually saying. He was about to say something about you, Shay. But what's your experience of Mardi Gras?
What are you about to say about me?
Oh, so yeah, my bad, y'all. So last week, Shay came in town. She lives she's from here. We've been knowing each other about 22 years, and so she's moved to Texas. She's a flight attendant on a private airline. So she's really fancy like that. Yes. So
Shay's fancy.
Shay is very fancy. So she came in with two of her co-workers, and it was their first time again in New Orleans. One was she's from New Jersey, and the other one is from the Dominican Republic, but she lives in Miami. So they came, and Shay came to Whiskey and Sticks. She met me there, and she was like, want to go on a tour in New Orleans. So we took them on a really, really fast tour, but they got to see New Orleans same way like with Nate and the guys. But I didn't take them to Lots of Luck, but we went to Frenchman Street. We had a couple of drinks there, watched some live music. Then we went to Cafe Du Monde, so they had some beignets. You got to have your beignets. And then we went to a bar on Bourbon Street, but we went to a bar further up on Bourbon Street where the locals hang out at. And we had a good time in there. We were singing along. They had karaoke that night, and we were singing. And I mean, it was a really fast tour, but they had a blast, man.
They did.
They had a really good time.
Brian, I like the fact that you took them to a karaoke where the King of Shenanigans could shout out again.
Oh, I love karaoke. I love karaoke. Not only do I sing, I also host karaoke. So,
which begs the question: what's your go-to number one? You got to do one karaoke song. What is it, Brian? You got one you can do. What one do you pick?
If I tell you the song the one karaoke song I do, you would laugh your butt off. I wanted That Way by the Backstreet Boys.
Yes!
Yes!
And look,
Brian,
let me tell you something. That song, when I start, as soon as you hear it, people like they hear the first few tones, and then I'll be like, "You are my fire, the one desire, believe." And then when I start, next to the crowd is going with me. And then next thing you know, you go to hook. Tell me why ain't nothing but a party. Tell me why, and it's insane after that.
Can I just say that? But last two times, no, not last two times, but two of the last, I think, 4 times that myself and Dan have been over in the city. We've come over with a group of guys, the Saints Block Party guys, Adam and Ryan. We've been in their company, and we've been to Cat's Meow. On the two occasions we've been there, can you guess what we sang? Tell me why.
And you know what's so funny? As soon as you start singing, and once the crowd realizes what you're singing, they're right there with you.
Oh,
they're right there with you.
They love it.
Yeah.
Like that.
If people go and sing sad songs, it's like, no, people want Backstreet Boys.
People want Backstreet Boys, man. And that song, I don't know why, man, but for some reason that song just resonates with me, and I will sing the living shit out that song.
Brian, I never thought in my history, Brian, that I would speak to a New Orleanian and he would say the people want the Backstreet Boys.
The people want the Backstreet Boys. I'm trying to tell you.
With the history of music in that city, hey, look, the people want the Backstreet Boys. But hey, look, we're with you. Karaoke-wise, it's because the great thing about that song is, as you were saying, Brian, you start it, it's a slow burner. It's like, yeah,
it's a slow
everyone
burn,
knows.
right?
The moment it hits that chorus, the whole, wherever you are, everybody is singing it back at you.
Everybody's singing back with you.
It's a joyous song to sing. Yeah,
it's a really cool song, man. I like that song. My other song. As a matter of fact, this guy's from England. Return of the Mac.
Mark Morrison.
You lied to me.
Well, I can't cook that for
lied to you. So it's so funny. I love that song. The first time I heard it back in 93, 94, I was like, all right, I like this song. You know, and the video, he's sitting in a chair like he's back in town, and this girl cheated on him, and now he's doing better in life, and now she wants him back, and he doesn't want to be bothered. Get away from me, girl. I don't like you no more. I'm the Mac. I've returned. So I love that song. So, but my favorite part of the song is "You Lied to Me," and so one day I was playing it in the jukebox. At the time, I was living in Atlanta, and I was playing that song in the jukebox, and then I was just like, that little one part, "You lied to me." I said, you could take that and almost make it a meme. Like if someone says something to you, like you meet a girl who says, "Hey, you know, I thought you didn't have any kids. You lied to me." You know what I mean? Like you told me you lived alone. You lied to me.
I'm going to steal that idea, and I'm going to record that, and I'll post it on Twitter whenever anyone.
I already have the meme. Look, I already have the meme made. So it's Mark Morrison going, "You lied to me." So after this is done, I'm gonna post it for you.
You need to do a meme of someone saying, "Our car is the QB of the future." You lied to me. Oh my days!
Oh yes, I love it.
Dennis Allen's all about continuing the culture. You lied to me.
You lied to me. Dennis Allen said we were going to go 14-3. You lied to me.
You lied to me. This has been my favorite 10 minutes we've ever recorded on this podcast.
You know what?
I
never should have given this meme to Jameis Winston when Dennis Allen said he's going to get his job back after once he healed up from the injury.
When he broke his back. Yeah.
Right. After your back is healed, you're going to get your job back, Jameis. You lied to me.
I never in a million years thought
Dennis Allen, Jameis, you're going to take a knee, right?
You lied to me.
Can I just say, Brian, I never thought that we'd get on the pod and we would spend 5.5 minutes talking about the Backstreet Boys and Mark Morrison. That's a new one on me. Who knew?
I love it.
You know why? That's called shenanigans.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what shenanigans is.
Oh my days!
I needed this.
That meme idea is absolutely outstanding, and unfortunately for you, Brian, that's from this podcast. That's going to be plucked, and it's probably going to be used about 122 times.
I'm okay with it. Matter of fact, I'm going to post the meme and make sure you don't get it. So you better copy and paste it when I post it.
You're getting the credit for it, my friend. You really are. You really are. Dan, what's your go-to karaoke song?
I don't really have one, to be honest. I admit, do you know what? Like a typical middle-aged white man is like Mr. Brightside or some shit like that, probably. It's the one that we all run for.
All right, I like Buffalo Soldier. Buffalo Soldier by Bob Marley is a good one. When Doves Cry by Prince, obviously you can't go wrong with that one. Let's see what else. But you know what? It's a good karaoke song, but the problem is it just it's too much of a slow burn. In the Air Tonight with Phil Collins. Because everyone's waiting for the drum. I can feel it calling in the air. Right. And that's why everyone's waiting for that part. So
that's it.
You got 5 minutes of him just singing with no beat. But once the beat comes in, everybody's like, yay!
Yeah,
but it just
everybody
takes
for
too long.
5 minutes is like, what the fuck? Can we just move
Right,
on
like,
with this
all right,
song?
we
Yeah.
get it, we get it.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
thinking,
yeah,
you're
yeah,
thinking
yeah.
You got to get them
Crockett
early.
and Tubbs.
You got to get them early.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right, because for 5 minutes everyone's thinking of Crockett and Tubbs riding around dealing drugs.
Yeah,
Miami
God.
Vice.
a man after my own heart. What a series that was. That was ahead of its time.
Man.
That series.
Yeah, that was it. Really was. It really was. Michael
Mm.
Mann is a visionary, so he's
Yeah,
done some good stuff.
Absolutely. I think we probably should draw it back on to a little bit of Mardi Gras talk.
Okay, no problem. Look, I'm here for whatever, man.
No. We're going back to whatever we've just had in 5 minutes. But just a quick myself and Dan sort of obviously from the outside looking in, people look at Mardi Gras and just think it's an excuse to go out, party, and have a good time, which of course it is. From somebody who's a local, what else does Mardi Gras sort of mean to you, Brian? What else does it represent?
It's a time to, and here's the thing. I mean, Mardi Gras, the carnival season starts on December 6th. It's the 12th day of Christmas. All this stuff is based in Christianity and Catholicism. It's like it's the 12th day when the three kings went to visit baby Jesus. So King's Day is the official beginning of carnival season. And it's just basically a good time. Now, for this year, Mardi Gras showed up really, really, really fast. I mean, it's February 14th, and so we didn't have much of a turnaround. So it's like, all right, it was Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, Mardi Gras. So normally you have that slow burn, but for the locals, it's just really just a time to just kind of relax, enjoy each other, enjoy each other's company, have a good time. We'll have cookouts, or we'll go to different places. We'll have get-togethers at our friend's house. It's just basically it's a time of mirth. And then of course, you'll have Lent, so you'll have Mardi Gras Day, then you'll have Ash Wednesday. And being that New Orleans is a very Catholic city, what will happen is that's kind of time where everyone just lays low. A lot of people, they are Catholics here, so they'll go get their ashes on Wednesday, and then they'll give something up for Lent. So during that time, there's not really much going on in the city. And then, but also around that time, that's the end of winter, beginning of spring. So right after we come out of, right when we come out of Lent, you got Easter, but it's also festival season. So it's a really cool time. It's a fun time. I really for me as a local, I've been here all my life. My parents are, funny. Here's the thing: my parents are actually from Honduras. My mother and father are from Honduras. So they moved they moved here individually. They met. They got married in 1970. Had me 3 years later. I have a sister that lives in Miami. She's 2 years younger than me, but I've always enjoyed Mardi Gras. I've always just liked the fact that it's a time where New Orleans just kind of everyone just like you go out of your way to be happy. Like there's no bad vibes during this time. You know what I mean? And as I've gotten older, it's kind of changed a little bit how I do it. When I was younger as a kid, I just couldn't wait to, love the parades, wanted to catch all the bees and catch all of the balloons and stuff. Yeah. And as I got older, I wanted to hang out with my friends and hang out. Yeah. In my early 20s, when I was really with the shenanigans, wanted to go on Bourbon Street and see every boob I can see. So and now that I'm a middle-aged guy, I enjoy just spending time with my friends. They come in town, like Shay. She's in town, and I have a lot of friends that come to visit. A lot of my friends are in the parades. So a couple of years ago, one of my good friends was King of Zulu. Again, one of my other friends, she's a judge. She's actually formed her own parade crew. So it's really cool to see how we've kind of literally taken Mardi Gras and made it our own as we've gotten older. Yeah, and I really enjoy it. I really do. I just like I've been meeting people like y'all, making total friends out of complete strangers from all over the planet, man. You can't beat that. You can't beat that.
No, we found it when we were over there, and it's funny enough because obviously the year myself and Dan went was the year after Mardi Gras didn't happen because of obviously lockdowns, etc. Yeah. And at the time, even though since then, people said to me that the following year was where it really came back.
Oh my goodness, man!
We found Brian in 2022. It was I don't think I realized how important it was to people socially and culturally. That was the thing that I didn't realize, because I think I spoke to Dan at the time when Dan wasn't there, and I spoke to a couple of people and they were almost in tears with the fact that Mardi Gras was back.
Yes,
because it was
back,
so
did they?
Yeah. No, because it was so important to them from a social and cultural aspect.
Yes. So in 2020, that's when you were at the very beginning of the pandemic. So we had Mardi Gras, and it wound up being a huge super spreader event. So right after Mardi Gras, people started dropping like flies, man. Like they're like the matter of fact, the crew of Zulu lost so many members because of COVID.
Yeah.
So and the mayor, she decided, the best thing to do is just lock everything down. So, and I can remember when it happened. It was, I was in Texas and I had a friend that worked for the CDC, and I'm like, man, what's this coronavirus thing, man? What did I hear about this? Is it a big deal? He was like, dude, go home, go to the store, get your stuff. You're going to be inside for a while. I'm like, are you serious? Yeah. He was like, yeah. So I come back home from Texas from work. I go out that weekend. As a matter of fact, it was St. Patrick's Day weekend. Yeah. And after that, man, they shut everything down, and everything was shut down from it was shut down for a while.
Yeah.
So 2021 comes along. There's no Mardi Gras. And matter of fact, that year it was very, very, very cold too. Like it was like, so even if we didn't have Mardi Gras, if we had it, it wouldn't have been fun anyway, because it was like Antarctica out there. It was everything was froze completely over. There was a blizzard came through. It was just all bad. So then 2022 comes and everything's open up again. And man, I can tell you, just like you said, it was just so much fun to be outside again. Like, and we didn't realize how much we missed Mardi Gras until it actually happened. Because man, look, that was the first time they shut Mardi Gras down since 1979. And during that year, 1979, they had a police strike. So there was no security for the parade, so they couldn't have Mardi Gras. I mean, even after Katrina. So, Katrina hit in 05. That January and February of 06, they had Mardi Gras. It was a much reduced Mardi Gras, but they still had it. You know what I mean? So for them not to have parades, not to have anything, that we really missed it. So 2022 came along and everyone's back outside. And man, when I tell you, people just hugging each other. It was good to have Mardi Gras back.
Yeah, and that's what we saw. People just like embracing in the street. Like they maybe hadn't seen each other for a while, and fathers and sons throwing a football around. Like we was on Canal because that's where our hotel was on Mardi Gras.
Right,
but just seeing families just emotional outpouring because they wasn't sure that it was going to happen because of what had happened in the previous 18 months. It was for us. It was very I would say emotional, but we felt something as tourists coming over and seeing that this means more than just, you grow up, people talk about Mardi Gras and go, it's an excuse to flash some boobs and get some beads. And it's like on a grander scale than Bourbon Street. But I know I can now come back and say to people, it's so much more. Like you say,
it's so much more than that. Yeah,
culturally ingrained in the city.
Absolutely.
That it is, everyone's favorite festival, everyone's favorite event.
It's our time to go out your way to be nice to people. Pretty much, that's pretty much what it is. Like
when the rest of the world's being moody because it's after Christmas and it's January and it's miserable, New Orleans is just embracing.
People, it's after Christmas. Everyone's still trying to recover from Christmas because they don't have any more money because they spent all their money on Christmas, and and we have this big free show. So and it's our thing. We love it. And we love sharing it. Like we love sharing it with people who appreciate it. Like, if you're the kind of person that you just are ill-mannered, contrary, and you just don't get along well with people, Mardi Gras is not for you. Matter of fact, we don't want you here because all you're gonna do is you're gonna make it miserable for everybody else.
You can bring everyone else down. You're
gonna bring everyone else down. But if you're the kind of person you love to have a good time, you want to have fun, you want to walk down the street with a drink in your hand because you can't do that where you live. You want to meet total strangers and do all kind of goofy stuff, then absolutely. Right there. Shay's looking for a charger, y'all. Yeah. Then New Orleans is, Mardi Gras is your kind of place, man. It's your kind of place, is your kind of thing. And if you run into me, I'm going to make sure you have a good time.
Oh, we know that. We absolutely know that. Yeah, I mean, but like, yeah, again, it's one of those things. I've said it on this pod before, Brian. It's like I'm hoping, and it probably next year might be a stretch now with the whole Super Bowl being in New Orleans, and obviously,
that's going to be crazy.
Yeah, I think it's going to be crazy. But the thing is, like we've spoken about this before on the pod, it's like both my sons want to go over, and my sons, we were going to do it this year, and it couldn't happen because Mardi Gras was so early in the year,
right?
And also because of the Super Bowl, we just couldn't make it happen. But we were waiting because my youngest son turned 21 in December, so we wanted to make sure that when he came to New Orleans, he'd be able to fully invest. And if we went into a dive bar with a King of Shenanigans, he could come in because he's old enough.
Absolutely.
So we're possibly looking at doing it next year. And I would love, one of the things that I would love for them to see is the whole thing that, like Dan was explaining, Brian, about this cultural sort of investment, but also this cultural mix whereby, thankfully myself and Dan have been over there, and it really was that case that you walk down the street, somebody would do something absolutely stupid in front of you, but good stupid.
Right. It'd be a good stupid.
And you sort of laugh at them, they'd embrace, you'd high five, and you'd go on your way. And I just want my kids to be able to see that sort of cultural mix whereby it's all about having good times and it's all about just sort of enjoying the moment, which I think, unfortunately, especially for younger kids now, that quite often they don't get that opportunity to just enjoy the moment.
They don't. They really don't. I mean, these poor kids now, they're so angst-ridden. And I think it's kind of our fault because, we're stressed out over something. But like when we were kids, we like fun was what you did. Like being a kid, fun was a function. That was a function of being a kid. I mean, these days, these poor kids, man, they're just unhappy. So, we got to give them some joy anywhere we can.
Yeah, we used to drink out the hose. We used to drink out the hose. They won't even drink out the tap.
Right.
Yeah.
We can't drink that. There's too many chlorofluorocarbons or whatever fluorocarbons in it. We can't drink that. Man, give me that
calories
hose, man. Right. That's the flavor.
Same people picking their beads up off the street, though, Brian.
Well, if the bees hit the street, it's for the street. You leave them on the street, unless they're really, really nice bees. Then you pick them up. But normally, what happens is, if they don't hand them to you now. They unless it's like you work a deal out with somebody on the float and he decides he wants to throw it to you. But for the most part, they'll hand you really nice bees. They'll actually call you to the float and say, "Come get it." Yeah,
the only again, not from a local, and only from what myself and Dan saw when we were over there. If you are somebody who's desperate for beads and for some special beads, I would say that if you go to the junction of Graveyard and Magazine, you're probably going to get some really good beads because that's where a lot of the floats stop. And that's when there's a pylon, and it literally they're throwing their children out of the bloody float. You know what I mean? Right. You could catch a child on some beads. I'm telling you that now.
You're not lying about that, because by the time they get to the end of the parade, you can't take that stuff with you. It's over with, and that's the end of the parade. That's probably going to be the only parade you're going to be in. So you're not going to take those beads and put them on another float, and you damn sure don't want to hold on to that stuff for another year. So they're gonna, if you're like you say, you're there, they'll throw some stuff at you just to get it off the float. Because they don't want to lug their stuff back home. Yeah, so that's a good spot, man.
Yeah. I was going to say, my Dan, I don't know. So go on, mate.
I was going to ask, like Brian, what your earliest memories of Mardi Gras, like as a kid growing up?
My earliest memories of Mardi Gras growing up is being with my parents and their friends. And it's funny because tomorrow, I guarantee you, well, not tomorrow, but Sunday, when my parents had their Super Bowl party, there's going to be a lot of their folks there, a lot of their friends there, and they're going to remind me of the time that they used to pick me up and put me on their shoulders. And, well, they can't do that anymore. So, but
you can try.
they will fail miserably. It would be a bad scene, man.
Brian, if I get over there next year, my eldest son's 27. He's quite a well-built lad. I'll see if he can get you on his shoulders.
No, we're not doing that. No, we're not doing
No.
that. I tell you what, though. So here's the funny thing. It's actually funny now that we talk about it because Shay has a daughter. Her daughter is 20 years old. She attends the University of Oregon. And when I lived in Atlanta, I would come home to visit, and we would all stay by our friend's house. Now, our friend Tanya. Here, this is. Let me tell you how cool life is. So our friend Tanya, her son now plays in the NBA. So
wow.
Yeah. So she's doing her thing. But when we all used to come in and stay at her house, at the time, Shay's daughter was like preteen. And so Summer, I used to take Summer and put her on my shoulder. She demanded that when we go to the parades, I have to put her on my shoulder. Well, Summer's 20 now, and I won't be carrying Summer on my shoulders anymore.
No. Brian, you be getting arrested, my friend.
Well, I just can't do it. Just can't. No. Summer's taller than me, man.
Yeah. It's the way they grow. Like, as I was saying, I've got two sons, 21, 27, and now
I would tell you, if he starts talking to some young lady and she hears his accent, trust me, she's going to climb on his back and he's going to have one.
That's why we need the King of Shenanigans to stop some of those shenanigans going on because. Unfortunately for us, we've had a few friends who've come over who are not young lads who should know better have been on the end of some shenanigans, should we say, Brian?
Yeah, man. Look, the thing about New Orleans and Mardi Gras, there's a lot that's permissible, but it's all based on consent. Like if they say cool, like there's a lot of stuff that people do that they normally wouldn't do, but because it's Mardi Gras. It's carnival season. We're having a good time, man. It's whatever. But as long as you have that consent, you can pretty much do almost anything you want. But the people that go too far, the ones who they don't have any tact, they don't have any common sense, they don't know how to behave well with others, or they're just downright creeps. Those are the ones that get themselves in trouble, and then they don't understand why they're in jail. And the thing about the ones when you don't want to go to jail during Mardi Gras because you're going to be there at least 2 weeks. You're not getting out. The courts are closed because all the judges are riding on the floats.
Exactly.
So, you're not getting out of jail, dog. So if you want to get disqualified from Mardi Gras for you did that to yourself because the police are pretty cool. They will allow for a lot of stuff to happen until they won't. And really, all they want you to do is just do what they ask you to do.
Yeah.
These folks, they work 12-hour shifts and they work every single day for 2 weeks straight. So they don't have time to be arguing with somebody, that wants to give them any feedback about, doing something. If they say, hey, don't do that, behave, calm down, go over there, do what they say. Yeah. But if they have to get involved, trust me, if you're going to make them do work, they're going to make it miserable for you.
Nah, absolutely.
One of the things I always say to people, if they say, I think we're going to Mardi Gras, I go to them, make sure if you're going to be drinking all day and you're parading, you are near a public restroom. Because if you urinate in public, you are going to prison.
You're going to jail.
You're going to get arrested. Like in the UK, you can get away with just doing that in an alley. But I say, like in New Orleans, if the police see you, you are in trouble. It's just understanding these things.
Absolutely. Right. I mean, and I will tell you this. The good thing about Mardi Gras now is that now the logistics of Mardi Gras have improved so much over since I was younger. Like there are porta potties everywhere. Now there are porta potties everywhere, so you shouldn't really have a reason to pee outside. But if you do, just make sure you're smart about it. Like when I do the Mardi Gras tips, you should keep a plastic bottle in your car. You should keep a cup in your car, something like that. In the event that you got to go. So you do what you have to do. But you don't want to get caught outside.
Brian, your tips were invaluable to me when me and Dan came over. Literally, it was just like, thanks, Brian, mate. And it was that thing, like, mate, it was like the fact that you were saying, right, start getting your steps in now. Start walking like a month.
Stay hydrated.
Before. stay hydrated. Just
yeah.
do the and that's exactly the things that I was doing. I was like, right, yeah, I like walking, but obviously, and the great thing, thankfully for me and Dan, is when we came over, is that the weather was absolutely spectacular. We were lucky.
Yes.
We were lucky
late,
that
wasn't
year.
It was like late February, early March, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. We were lucky with the weather, and they were invaluable because it was like. But you were right, Brian, because one of the things is I was reading about the one thing, and it was about, all right, where are you going to be able to pee? But you're right. Obviously, they've looked at that, and now they've sorted that out. So I never, in all the time I was over there, was concerned about where I was going to pee.
Right.
Because the restrooms were everywhere. The porta potties were there. But also, even bars, I think, were a little bit more like understanding about the fact that
bars are a lot. Yeah, they really are understanding. Yeah. The bars are really cool about that. What they will do is, some bars are like, hey, look, 1 drink minimum, man. Just buy.
Yeah.
A drink.
But also, Brian, you're talking to a couple of Brits buying a drink in a bar to have a piss. That's second nature. I do that.
That's exactly. Yeah, that's cool, man. So right, so you get it. So right. So you get it. So, absolutely.
Right, I'll go into a bar and get myself a drink. Sorry, go on, Dad.
Mike has a list of This shows how often we come to New Orleans. Mike has a list of bars and hotels that he will go to the toilet in. And he knows, like, I'm in this area. That's my bar or hotel. If I desperately need to go to the toilet, that's like we're
what?
Like in there.
Tell you what. Let me hear your list. Tell me about these spots.
Oh no, I haven't got it off the top of my head. But right. Brian, this is more.
Sheraton is one. Sheraton's
more
one.
Importantly,
absolutely, Sheraton. I will use the Sheraton restroom just driving down the street. I'm like, oh man, I use the bathroom. I will go to the Sheraton. So yeah,
on the first
Sheraton's
floor,
highly recommended.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
Dan, do you want?
So I used to work in that Sheraton. So,
Brian,
but there's one on the second floor that's pretty good too.
Dan's going to tell you about the story of the first time that we stayed at the Sheraton together, mate.
Oh my God. I can't believe you just said that.
Oh, sorry, you're not going to tell that story.
No,
you brought up restrooms.
Fine. So the first time I come to New Orleans for Mardi Gras, I get in on the Saturday night late, and I don't sleep. I get into bed. Mike's a mess because he's been out drinking all day. I walk in the room. I go, I'm not going out. It's like 1 a.m. I say, I'm not going out. I've been on traveling for like 18 hours. He looks up at me as like a zombie, like he doesn't know what's going on with the world. I laid him in bed, like doing the luge for like 6 hours because I can't sleep. We get up. We go to Ruby Slipper for breakfast across the road, and I say, I've got to go back to the hotel to go to the toilet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. And then I'm so out of it, I can't believe I'm going to say this.
So by Brian, he's in those second floor or the second floor. Up the escalator.
Yeah, you got the escalator.
Starbucks. That's where Dan is.
Yeah, all right, so you're about to Starbucks. I know exactly where you're at.
Yeah. But the toilets in the US have got that gap, haven't they, on the seat? Like
yes.
When you put the seat down, so I'm sitting on the toilet, I don't realise. I look down, I'm like, oh my God, someone has peed all over the floor. And then I realised it's not someone, it's me, where I'm so tired and jet lagged. And Brian, I don't know how I missed my jeans, but I come downstairs and I'm like, all right, Mike, I'll catch you a minute. Mike goes to the toilet, he comes down, he goes, can you believe some disgusting person did that in that toilet? They've peed all over the floor. I was like, yeah, it was me. I was so jet lagged, I didn't have a clue what was going on. It was horrendous, and he brings it up all the time.
No, I don't. That's the first time I've asked you to say it publicly
on this podcast.
Yeah. Well, that's fair enough.
I'm glad that it worked out well for you. The Lord was with you. That's why.
Yeah, the Lord was with him. That's why he didn't piss on his own jeans.
It was like,
that's why he didn't piss on his own jeans. Yeah.
I was like, Pulp Fiction with Samuel L. Jackson where he doesn't get shot. And I'm like,
there you go. There you go. Yeah.
That's divine intervention.
That was divine. That was the Lord looking out for you. He knew you were tired. He knew you meant well. and you know that's
Well,
he didn't want you to mess up your
in town
jeans.
for a good
Brian,
time.
Brian, it's one of the things that me and Dan laugh about when you get the opportunity to come to the UK to visit us. We'll do a tour of restrooms in bars, restaurants,
I'm here
and
for
shops.
it. Look, let me tell you something, and I shouldn't share this, but that's
Tell me why.
Shay and I have been known to look at dive bar restrooms.
Oh yeah.
Look at them. Now we'll go in there and be like, all right, this one's okay. We will rate them based on your ability to tinkle there. Then so you know, we don't stay long. We just go in and check it out and go. Then we go about our business.
Yeah.
Like the way I did that. She's blushing.
I think that Brian, if you ask Dan what his favorite restroom in the city of New Orleans is, I think I know.
At least
I think I know the one that he's going to say.
Where's
You might know the bar because it's a really good dive bar off Bourbon. Go on, Dan.
Deja vu?
I cannot deal with it. I cannot deal with the toilets in the Erin Rose because it's one toilet and there's no lock on the door.
Oh,
And the door
Erin Rose,
opens
yeah,
into the
yeah.
middle of the bar.
it does. Like, make sure your fly is up when you're done. When you open the door,
You are not. If you need to take a dump, you are not going in that toilet. You are in trouble if you sit there and push your foot at that door.
The restrooms, those restrooms are designed for number one and number one only. If you got the bubble guts, I suggest you go back to you got to go back to your hotel room if you got the bubble guts.
And here's a very good quick. Here's a very good tip for everyone. If you've got the bubble guts, you need to hit the Sheraton if you're in Erin Road. That's probably the nearest restroom that you can do that type of sort of
and there's a
stuff.
bunch of hotels that now I'll tell you there is one, but you have to act like you've been there. You have to act like you know where you're going, otherwise they're gonna look at you crazy. The Royal Orleans.
Yes,
the Royal Orleans Hotel.
Carousel bar is.
Yeah. It's the same place where the rib room is. It's the same restaurant.
Yeah.
It's the same. Yeah, where the rib room is. If you go up in there, so you go up the marble steps because that's the lobby, and if you go like to your left and around the bend, there's a restroom there, and you can go in there and do what you got to do. But again, you got to walk in there like you've been there before. If you walk around, start looking around like, oh my god. Yeah, security's going to escort you out the door.
Right, you've been in the end zone before. I've done it.
There you go, my man.
Brian,
my man.
Did you ever think you were going to come on a podcast and we'd be talking about the best restaurants to have bubble guts in? I don't think you did.
You know what? But I didn't think so, but I'm glad that we did because the world this is good information. This is stuff that the world needs to know.
Hey, look, this is survival.
People
in New
need to
Orleans.
know.
Everybody pees.
I remember going
to the public service.
I'm not going to name the restaurant, but I remember I sent down a picture when I was there 3 years ago on my own, and I went into a restaurant, and I just needed to pee.
Right.
This restaurant was the most incredible thing I've ever seen because they had a toilet seat next to the urinal. There was no door, no block, and I was like, "What the hell?"
Right.
There was no lock on the door, so if somebody was in there with the bubble guts doing their thing, you'd have to.
It is what it is.
Go in and,
mind your business.
You'd be peeing next to them and high fiving them or fist bumping them about what you're doing, and I was just like, "What the hell is this about?" But that's the difference between the UK and the US. Is restrooms restrooms in the UK give you privacy. They really do. Yeah. But
the old.
Where is this podcast going? This podcast,
I don't know.
Look, let me tell you something. This is shenanigans, man. This is straight up shenanigans.
Yeah. yeah.
This is what it is.
Right. Can I ask you? Obviously, we know your love and your affinity for Mardi Gras, and obviously myself and Dan have said even when we came over there, we followed all your top tips. What other of the festivals in New Orleans do you really enjoy, or do you actually go out and try and enjoy?
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Look, I love the French Quarter Fest. So the French Quarter Fest is it's about maybe a month before the Jazz Fest, And
it's the 11th. It's the 11th to the 14th of April this year.
Yes, it is. There you go.
The reason why I know
because
is
we're looking at it.
That's because what me and Dan are trying to come over for.
Well, if you come for that, man, that's a great time, man. And
yeah,
I'll make sure we take care of you when you get here. So yeah, absolutely. So the French Quarter Fest is awesome, and I love the French Quarter Fest. You have a lot of like local bands, and it's just basically New Orleans loving on itself. It's New Orleans giving itself a hug. So the French Quarter Fest is really cool. I like what else? There's a bunch of little festivals that I like, man. We have the Po' Boy Festival. There's one of Forest Street Festival. That's a pretty good one. I like Jazz Fest, but Jazz Fest has become very, very corporate.
Yeah.
Now they got the Stones are going to be here this year. So normally I haven't gone to the Jazz Fest in a long, long time. Matter of fact, the last time I went to the Jazz Fest was with Shay. And so
beautiful Shay.
Beautiful Shay, yes, that's beautiful Shay. So that's the last time I went to the Jazz Fest, and I'm over that. And there's a bunch of little different things that a lot of these places do. And I have a good time there, and I have a lot of fun there. Now I'll tell you one fest that I do like that's not in New Orleans. It's called Oyster Fest. Oyster Fest is in Atlanta, and that's a pretty cool thing too. It's by a bar called the Steamhouse Lounge, and they block off the street, and they just have concerts, and it's a cool little vibe. So if I sneak out of town for sometimes, I'll go to Oyster Fest for a weekend. But like the French Quarter Fest, definitely. Forest Street Festival is pretty cool. And like even though I don't do Jazz Fest, Bayou Road, we're over there where we have a lot of stuff going on Bayou Road by Whiskey and Sticks. That's a cool little vibe. So you got that, and just basically a lot of little smaller festivals are really, really cool. Satchmo Fest is pretty cool. Where we celebrate Louis Armstrong. That's a cool one. And then as you go on towards, during the summer, it just gets really hot. So you have the Essence Music Festival, which up until last year was a really, really cool festival. It basically a celebration of Black culture.
Yeah.
Essence Magazine, they'll come down and you have all these celebrities come in town. And that's a really cool festival. The problem is it's in the middle of July and it's a big sauna. So, we make it happen.
But Brian, I've thought about Essence Fest is the one that I would love to come for because
come check it out, man. Come on, you would have a blast. I'm
a huge R&B fan, but I remember the first time I went over to New Orleans, and the first time I went was with my wife, and I remember chatting to some guy. We were doing a tour with him, and we were just chatting stuff, and he just went, "Don't even think about coming in July." Like this white, pale, middle-aged Englishman, he was like, "You wouldn't survive." And I was like, "You know what? I get you. I know enough about the city to know that you're absolutely right." So that's the one thing because I've always wanted to go there because there have been times. I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago. I think Maxwell was headlining. I love Maxwell.
Man, look, you want to come to Essence? Come to Essence. Just wear sunscreen. You'll be fine.
Just go to the cinema on the mall when you're not.
Yeah.
And
here's the thing. So during Essence, you got a lot of the bars and the clubs, and then a lot of places they have like all these different little things that you can do and go. So you don't actually have to be outside the entire time.
No,
one time you're really outside is when you're walking from place to place. And in the convention center, that thing is huge, and there's so much going on in the convention center. You can just walk up and down the convention center and have a good time in there. And the concerts in the Superdome, so you're not going to be hot. You're not going to be. So you'll be fine. Yeah, just do like you do for Mardi Gras. Just hydrate yourself, man.
Superdome is cold, man.
If I think about it now, it's sort of thing whereby Dan knows me. I don't get in until 3 or 4 in the morning. I'll just allow myself to sleep in a little bit longer. Then sort of go to a air conditioned venue until Essence is back on, then hit there. So I'll never see the sunlight.
There you go.
Yeah.
So that, and that's called planning. That's called good planning. But yeah, man, come check out Essence. You'll have a great time. Now, last year there was kind of a controversy because they tried to cater Essence to the younger crowd. the younger demographic.
Yeah.
And that wasn't fun at all. And the feedback was massive. It was huge. And I think this year they're going to do better. So we'll wait to see. We'll wait to see what the lineup looks like. And depending on what the lineup looks like, man, definitely plan a trip and then come on down in July.
Yeah, absolutely. But I love it because I watch loads of stuff on the internet. Like obviously not the main sort of like I see obviously in the Superdome, like the main acts that are there. But everything around, whether it be in the convention center or in the other areas, and it was like even things like a couple of years ago, like unfortunately. Like Alexander O'Neill, I absolutely love.
I love Alexander O'Neill, man. Look,
back in hey Brian, but back in the 80s and probably in the 90s, in his absolutely vocal heyday.
Yes,
apart from Luther, nobody could probably touch him. He was
Alexander
unreal.
O'Neill was unreal, man. Look, I've been a big fan of Alexander O'Neill. Did you know that he was supposed to be the original singer of the time, the lead singer of the time?
Yeah. And him and Prince.
So
did they?
No, they didn't. And so, but Alexander O'Neill, he got with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, man, and he put out some hits, man.
Oh no. But obviously, not in a hurry way. Unfortunately, he had a huge, major drug addiction, and
yes, he did.
That's been the problem for him. Funnily enough, my wife, her uncle, was quite a famous DJ over in the UK during the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, he passed away very young. But him and Alexander O'Neill were the best of friends. So,
oh man.
But I'm going to his final gig in, I think it's June of this year in the UK at Royal Albert Hall. Yeah, it's his final gig. He's in his 70s now. Unfortunately for him, he never recovered.
No, man.
Vocally, he never recovered from the addictions that he
tried to, and it's on YouTube. He tried to redo. I want to try Sunshine. He tried to redo Sunshine. I can't go. And man, it sounds bad, man. Matter of fact,
it's
a friend of mine, a friend of mine, they played it for me, and now just like I do the Mark Martin, You Lied to Me. We use that as a meme now. Now it's like, it's not the way I planned it, so it's when I first heard, I was like, what is this mess, man?
And all I'm saying is, like, kids, cocaine is not a good thing to take for 40 years of your life, because unfortunately you're at the peak, and he had the ability to be like an absolute power. And Jimmy, you're right about Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. They said vocally when he came in to do his first album, they've never heard anything like it. Which is But anyway, let's swiftly move on. Dan, have you got something to move on to, mate?
And your favourite Christmas song, Mike? This Christmas.
Absolutely.
Wait, Mike, your favorite Christmas song. If you like Alexander O'Neill, then you love Remember Why It's Christmas.
Remember why
it's Christmas. Oh, I love that song.
Brian, I think that proves to you that I'm Alexander O'Neill.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm telling you now, Brian, that Christmas album that he produced then is one of the best Christmas albums you will ever hear.
My gift to you.
Yeah. Anyway, we got to move on because Dan's sitting there like.
Dan's like. Sorry about that, Dan, man.
Coming out of my cage because I've been doing just fine. Gotta. I've got me back on kilter. I've just.
There we go.
Anyway, my favorite thing about Mardi Gras is king cake.
King cake
at home.
Yeah,
I love king cake. My kids love king cake.
Monday, a friend of mine, she's doing a Mardi Gras king cake festival. We just go to her house and everyone brings king cakes, and we're all gonna just have slices of king cake. So when that happens, I'll make sure I post it. I might even do like a live thing from Instagram, so you all can see all of the delicious king cakes that they're gonna bring.
The one thing I would say about Dan is that Dan's a superb chef. Chef. Dan, don't pull your face. You know you are. You grill. You smoke. but he also does, and he did it this week for his kids and his wife. He made king cake over here in the UK.
Nice.
Yeah, and his kids have actually asked him, can he make some more? So
did you put the baby inside the king cake and make sure that whatever one of your kids ate it?
I've got a baby that I sort of stuffed in after I'd cut it.
There you go.
It's only a plastic baby rather than porcelain, but they was all like, "Who's going to get the baby?" I was like, "Well, if you get that bit at the end, that the legs are sticking out from, then you get, you get the baby." But yeah, I did a traditional, and then I made two. So I did a traditional, and I did a pecan cream cheese. Cream cheese one as well.
Nice,
which they love.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
I just love making it. I follow a recipe from Southern Living. It's
okay. Yeah,
I love it,
man. Well, that is awesome, man. Like I love some king cake. I tried to limit myself this year because I'm trying to reduce the size of me. But man, let me tell you something. Boy, I love some king cake. I like the king cake, traditional king cake. It doesn't have to have any filling in it, but I do like the icing on top. I like to have that white icing along with the Mardi Gras colors and the color sugar, and I'm good with that.
Yeah, it's like the best cinnamon roll pimped up to unbelievable levels.
That's pretty much what it is. It's just a pimped up cinnamon roll. But don't tell anyone because they'll fight you.
I need to come over there. I was trying to explain to my wife. I was like, people are queuing at like 6 o'clock in the morning to some of these bakeries to get a king cake when king cake season starts. Like, it is like trying to get the new iPhone in 2008.
Yeah, man. There is a bakery out in New Orleans East. It's a Vietnamese bakery that makes a very, very amazing king cake. And man, they will have lines like blocks long for people just waiting to get that king cake, man. And it's worth it. It's worth the trip.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, I mean, Dan's somebody who, as I said, we're both absolutely ingrained in the culture of New Orleans, but I think Dan's ingrained in the food culture of New Orleans. I mean, we went over there actually, funny enough, for Mardi Gras, and there was, I think it was actually on Mardi Gras Day, and we've been out, and obviously Lundi Gras had been really, really hard and difficult for Dan. And so we'd enjoyed Mardi Gras, and then it was like, right, we need to eat something. I was like, all right, Dan. So I gave him all these options, and obviously at that time we were centrally located. Right. So I was saying, we can go here, we can go here. But Dan was just saying to him, no, I want New Orleans food. I just want the, when you're sort of walking around thinking, well, there's chicken over there, there's something over there. But so eventually we went to a restaurant, we had that and stuff. But he is so ingrained in the food of
it's
the city.
The best
really
food in the world. The best food in the world.
Let me tell you something.
Beans, etouffee. It's all amazing.
I love during Mardi Gras, and you'll get all of that. And I love the fact that you'll have folks just cooking that on a neutral ground. Like they will, like they'll have it out there. One of my favorite Mardi Gras memories of my entire life, and this actually happened the year I moved back home from Atlanta. So I moved back to New Orleans in 2015, and I moved back in like June of 15. So 2016 was my first Mardi Gras back home as a local. And I remember being out, it was like early in the morning on Jackson Avenue, and I was waiting on Zulu to go by. And I remember I just had a hankering. Like you said, I just wanted somebody's grilled burger. I just wanted that. And I walk and I see this guy and he's grilling his burger. And I have this whole spiel, being in Atlanta for so long, everybody's full of BS. So everybody, wants to kind of be and come with all their corporate speak and all that. So I went to the guy, I'm like, hey, how you doing? I'm a local. I just moved back from Atlanta. It's been so long. And I come with the whole story about how much I really wanted a burger. And the burger smells so great. And I'm just laying it on thick. And the dude just looked at me. And he said, say, bro. He said, I want to hear your sob story. You want a burger or not? And he said, you could have just led with that, dog. You want a burger? Get you a burger. So he gave me the burger, and I ate it, and I was just like, you know what? You're right. I'm home. Sorry for giving you all that bullshit. And then I ate the burger and I walked off, man.
Well, you when you were in Atlanta, was that because you were displaced by Katrina, or was that a conscious decision, or
both? So what happened during Katrina, I was working for the local cable company, and when the storm came and we were gonna come back and start building everything, putting everything back together. But where I live was completely wiped out. Like I lived on the first floor of this apartment complex. My whole place went underwater. Yeah. So, and I have this tendency to overpack for everything. So I just basically what I had in the rental car was what I had left. And so what happened was, I remember I got a phone call from my supervisor, and he was like, yeah, we're about to start the system back up. And I told him what my situation was. Now I knew that the company had bought bought 50 rooms in this hotel. And I wasn't asking him for anything really. I was just hoping that he would be a bit more empathetic to my situation. And I was like, well, I don't have a place to live. I don't have any place to live, anything like that. And I'm thinking he's going to be like, well, hey man, we got these hotel rooms. Just come get a hotel room. You'll be fine. He was like, well, you need to find a place to live. I was like, you know what?
Really?
And at the time I was just over New Orleans because there was so much horrible stuff going on in the city. Yeah. I was just like, you know what? Screw this, man. And I went to Atlanta, and I went out there on a Friday night, and I had a blast. I had a time of my life. I went to this little club called NJQ. It's an underground hip hop club, man. And I had a blast in there. And then I went to this other club called Vegas Nights. They were, girls dancing on the stage. And it was just, I'm 32 years old. I'm still in my prime of shenanigans. And it was just a blast. And I was just like, you know what? Maybe I need to be in Atlanta. And so I remember telling my cousin who left with me at the time, I said, I don't understand it, cuz I don't know why I feel this way, but I think I'm meant to be here for a while. And so I decided to stay in Atlanta. And I moved, once I decided I was going to stay, I got an apartment, I got a job, bought a car, and I stayed there for like the next 10 years. But I had a great time there. But there wasn't a single day that I didn't think about New Orleans. There wasn't a single day that I didn't, wish I was there and how things were. But I knew that at some point in my life, I needed that time to just kind of grow as a person. And I do believe that everybody who lives in New Orleans, they need to spend some time away from New Orleans.
Yeah.
So they can understand, one, what the real world is like. Because New Orleans is not a real place, as we say. We do things a little differently here. So you got to go someplace else to just see how other people live and how other things are done. And let's be honest, not everybody jives with what we do down here. So if you go someplace else and you realize that you fit better there, at least you know it. At least you have the opportunity that, hey, I'm someplace else. I can be just fine where I'm living. My sister did that. My sister is so not New Orleans, but and she lives in Miami and she's thriving. I got to Atlanta and I just, we started the Atlanta Who Dat Nation. I made a lot of friends with the sports radio folks in Atlanta, but they all knew that, even though, I'm talking to you because you're on Atlanta radio, I am a Who Dat through and through. Matter of fact, one of the Atlanta radio show hosts at the time, he was the sideline reporter for the Falcons. He lost a bet to me. So I have a picture of him in a Jimmy Graham jersey. But, what happened after about 8 or 9 years of being in Atlanta began to change, and so did I. And so what started to happen was I would always come home to visit for Mardi Gras, and then it would be funny. As soon as Mardi Gras is over, I can't wait to leave. Well, one year I came back home. This is 2014. I came home for Mardi Gras, and I stayed a few days after Mardi Gras. And the city just seemed happy. Everybody just seemed to be very comfortable in their own skin. And the city kind of grew up a little bit too. So I was like, all right, maybe it's time for me to come back home. And it just, serendipity happens the way it does. And just so happened that I quit this job in Atlanta that was absolutely horrible. I was looking for work in Atlanta, New Orleans, and Houston. I called this one job and I applied for the job. The guy had told me he had just hired someone. I called my friend just to talk to him to see how he was doing. Come to find out the guy had hired my friend. And I was on the phone with him. So next thing you know, I come home, I talk to the guy, and I applied for a couple of jobs, and I wound up landing the job because the guy, the manager who ran the office that I applied for, was best friends with a guy I used to work with in Atlanta. So he was like, look, you had better hire Brian. So, and they offered me a job, and I came back home, man. Like, I broke my lease and everything and just packed up the truck and came back home in June of 2015. And I've been home ever since, man. And I don't regret it. I love it.
No.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and that's an incredible thing, because I don't think a lot of people realize that obviously with Katrina and the displacement, and whether or not it was absolutely connected to Katrina, obviously New Orleans went through a very, very difficult time at that period. And
we did.
Yeah, and people who even at that point may have loved the city, may have sort of slightly fallen out of love with the city. But the interesting point that you said there, Brian, is because of the way that New Orleans is, and it's such a different city. It's like obviously a service city, and that's the majority of what it does, and people view it as a party city. And politically, there have been so many shenanigans that have gone on with it, where
absolutely,
you know, where stuff doesn't probably get done that it ought to get done. A lot of people do move away, and you know, I think myself and Dan have probably had conversations with people where they've moved away, but there's this thing that there's an essence that sort of just resonates, and
it does.
You think about the city probably a little bit too much if you're away from the city.
I think about the city every fucking day, and I've never lived there.
No,
Dan, let me tell you something.
Every day.
Imagine that. You think about this city every day, and you don't live here. So imagine what it was for me for 10 years.
Yeah,
exactly. And
you
know, and even though, don't get me wrong, like I had a great time in Atlanta. Let me be clear. I had a great time. The only thing I did, you know, and it was fun to be a Saints fan in Atlanta because I can just basically tell them they can kiss my ass to their faces, which was awesome. That was a lot of fun. But the thing about New Orleans, and I tell everybody this, I had a good time in Atlanta. In Atlanta, I made a living. In New Orleans, I have a life. So, you know, and like there's no place like it. Like here it is. I mean, it's early February and the sun is shining and it's 70 degrees. I got the door open. You know, my beautiful friends in town to come visit for Mardi Gras because we're about to go run the streets and get drunk and do dumb stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, and you can't do that in Cleveland.
No, everyone always says Cleveland. Everyone always says
Brian.
in Cleveland.
Brian, can I point out we've had a number of conversations with people about obviously the main crux of our pod is international fans who have become Saints fans.
Right.
And the amount of times that people have mentioned Cleveland is just unbelievable. It's like I actually feel sorry for Cleveland now.
I have met some people from Cleveland, and I swear you, man, they are some of the most miserable people on the planet.
The Kelseys got out alive. The Kelseys
did get out alive. Yeah, but those, you know what? Those guys would move to New Orleans and they would make a very good life here. I guarantee you. Those the Kelsey boys could move to New Orleans and they would fit right the hell in.
Both of them would for different reasons. They're
right.
And yet again, it's like I think we've spoken about their podcast is you don't have to be a fan of either team. But they're obviously they're brothers. The chemistry is unreal.
Right.
But some of the shit they come up with, and they fit in New Orleans without a fucking shadow of a doubt. Jason would be a slightly different individual.
Right.
Travis would be on bourbon.
Travis is down with his shenanigans.
Travis is he's gonna be the guy that wakes up drunk.
Jason. Jason's like in Garden District, but Travis is with the people. 100%.
You're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. He'll be the one with that. He'll be the one with that Mardi Gras colored polo on.
Wait, Brian.
I didn't wear it.
Brian, you make those couple of posts about like, the guy with this is great. I sent it to Dan last week and was like, oops.
So here's what's funny.
Rugby shirt.
No, but and we give those guys a hard time. We call them Chads. So you got Karens, so we call them Chads. And so there was a website called Neutral Ground News. They took that meme and they ran with it. And man, when I tell you that thing triggered those Chads, boy, they were mad.
Hey, Brian,
I have a Yukon.
Don't upset Dan Chad Harper, please.
Hold on. No, hold on. I'm far from a Chad. Two,
no, you're not a Chad at all, dude.
I didn't buy the shit ones in the fucking tourist traps. I went to the proper place to get mine.
No, Dan, look.
Spent stupid money.
You would wear that shirt and everyone wouldn't even realize that you were wearing that shirt because you'd be that cool. So it would just be like, yeah.
Right, Brian, can I just point out that Dan went and bought that, and it was a really expensive shirt. I went to a shop.
Pearl's is pretty expensive.
I spent $4 on a vest. I'm trying look at my vest.
I see you.
I spent $4 on a vest.
Mike, you look like you ready to get down. Like Mike, you look like you ready to have a good time. Like,
I'm ready.
Whatever. Yeah.
When we come off this podcast, I'm going to have a look at flights, see if I can go there tomorrow.
Come on.
He would.
Hey, you know what? I pick you. You tell me when you hit me up when you land. I'm picking you up from the airport. Shay will probably be with me.
No, don't.
So then we'll take you straight to a bar.
Brian, do not tempt me with a good time. I'll be there.
Come on, man.
All right, I think
we've been going about an hour and a half, so I don't want to take up too much more Brian's time because there's parades to attend, there's drinks to be drunk, there's friends to be embraced, and good times to be had.
Man, look, tell you what, this is a good way to kick it off, man. This was so much.
Brian. Genuinely, again, Brian, I really appreciate you coming on. And I think Dan said it when it was happening. That little section where we were talking karaoke is probably the funniest thing that we've ever done on this pod.
That is hilarious. Don't forget, I'm going to be sending that Mark Morrison.
That meme.
You lied to me.
Yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
Brian, you've been an absolute pleasure and a blast to be on with, my friend. Genuinely, I've enjoyed this like no other pod.
Man. Come on,
only thing I've got to say is I hope that Clint Kubiak brings us as much joy as you brought us today, Brian.
Let me tell you something. I hope that this turns out because we were supposed to talk about the Saints and we just kind of didn't. But
this is better than the Saints. But go.
I'm going to tell you, I hope that Clint Kubiak does for the offense for Dennis Allen what Greg Williams did for the defense when Sean Payton brought him.
That's a great comparison.
Let's you know what? And I hate to say it, but if we were to change coaches right now, let's just say we change coaches, and if they would have just decided to blow the whole thing up. All right, so you have this team that's a little bit older, but still relatively talented. The problem with the Saints this year was that they underachieved, and they didn't have the right coaches, especially on offense.
Yeah.
So, if you blew it up and got rid of Dennis Allen, then all right, now you don't have your top 10. You don't have your coordinator of your top 10 defense anymore. So now we got to rebuild everything. So imagine if we have someone where, we have somebody who actually can control the offense and run the offense where we can score 20, 25 points a game, and Dennis Allen's still doing what he does on defense. Yeah. I think that the problem that, we realize is that Dennis Allen's personality probably doesn't fit the city because we're just so used to Sean and the way he was. But if Dennis Allen can just win some games and win some pretty decent games, and because I feel horrible, I feel bad actually admitting that towards the end of the season the Saints played very well. I tell you what, that last game against the Falcons, I mean, we hung 50 points on them dudes, man. And I was at that game with my friend Mike, who's from Atlanta, and he lives in Atlanta. And he works for the Falcons radio station. Yeah. And he just was looking around like, holy shit, like this is a great vibe in this dome. Despite of everything that happened, it was so much fun to just kick our rivals' asses up and down the field. And the game against Tampa, they played well. They played well against the Giants. Not so much against the Rams.
I think the Rams was the one during that 5-game stretch. The Rams was the one where it was like, right, we shit the bed. We shit
the bed. And the problem was that Derek Carr actually he wasn't the reason we lost that game.
No. You're right.
So, and I'm saying all this, and it's like I'm literally like pulling my toenails to say this. I have to be honest. I gotta believe I gotta go by what my eyes saw. I saw this team play well towards the end. So if the offense is better, where they can score points on anybody, I have no problem with Dennis Allen and his defense. I mean, that's what he does. And that defense is still a very good defense. Yeah. And we've actually found some things on that defense. We found out that Zach Bond is a halfway decent pass rusher. We found out that that Isaac Yiadom is a good cornerback. You could actually put Alante Taylor at cornerback if you have to. Lonnie Johnson, Jordan Howden. We have a good safety.
I love Jordan Howden.
I like Jordan Howden. So we have the pieces there on the defense.
Brian, it's even like Abram in the last 3 or 4 games really came up, didn't he?
Right.
Really came up. Yeah,
right.
So
we
just
have
need a
the
defensive
pieces.
end in free agency.
We need a defensive end. If we can get us a defensive end, somebody that's going to take up the attention. I mean, Cam was hurt, but Cam is also in his 30s. I like Granderson. I think Brian Breesy, the Gerber baby, I think he's going to be a monster. And so if we just get just a little bit more pass rush and that offense, they can kind of sort that offense out, this team is going to be a problem.
I think Dan was highlighting it when you said it, and it's a really interesting point about Greg Williams. If you can get a coach in who can do something like Peyton got him in,
right,
and suddenly it sparks something,
right,
because offensively they looked okay, and it's like we talk about the O-line, and obviously the O-line, you probably need a little bit of help in there.
Yeah, the O-line has to get better. They have to get better.
But you think about the first 6 games, it was like, this is a fucking disaster with that O-line. It felt like it. But then after the first 6 games, we weren't really talking about the O-line. What we were talking about is Derek Carr's eyes and everything. And so if you could supplement offensively something like a bit more play action, a bit more this, which gives him a bit more time, probably
bit more motion, bit more motion.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. The problem was,
you think, maybe we can do something.
Yeah, the offense was predictable at times. I mean, they brought in certain players, and what made Sean Payton's offense so good was he would run 4 or 5 different plays out the same formation, and he forced you to defend every single blade of grass on the field. And he also exploited the matchups. You would have a guy like Lance Moore who couldn't perform on any other team, performed well on the Saints because he had a very specific role because he was used a very specific way.
But Brian, we also, and we don't want to say it, we had Drew Brees. So
that too.
You could have 57 options. You know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely. Brees is a Hall of Fame talent for a reason. But again, I'm going to say this because I saw it. I saw it before he got here. If you can give Derek Carr time, if you can give him a line where he's comfortable behind that line, he's going to tell you, he's going to carve you up. He did it to us twice when he did it with the Raiders.
Yeah.
He did it to us twice. He is a serviceable quarterback. Is he Drew Brees? No, he's not. But then again, Drew Brees is Drew Brees.
A lot of people are, though. Yeah, exactly.
No. But you're right. That game in, was it 2020 when the Raiders Stadium opened, and he absolutely obliterated us.
man, he shredded us to pieces.
Yeah,
he shredded Dennis Allen's defense. I mean, he lit us up. Man, you saw Demario Davis just chasing Darren Waller.
Derek Waller. Yeah, Derek Waller. To one tight end. He carved us up with one tight end.
He carved us up with that one tight end. He carved us up with that one tight end. So if you just build an offense to his strengths and give him time to throw, he's going to cut out. I mean, think about what the Saints did. So they eventually put Andrews Pete back at left tackle, which imagine that. He's a left tackle in college. You make him a left tackle. You put him the left tackle in the pros. And, oh, well, snap. Look, he can play. Yeah. So imagine that. So they put him at
pass rush.
Oh. Right. So they put him at left tackle, and the left tackle stopped being a problem. And then the Lions start to have some sort of continuity. And I mean, they still couldn't run block for shit, but they got better at pass blocking.
Yeah.
And he had time. Carr began to have time, and he began to make plays. And then he really started to kind of spread the ball around. Man, look, that game against the Falcons, man, he was dealing.
Yeah,
that dude was dealing. I mean, our rookie receiver, I can't remember his name right now, from Wake Forest.
A.T. Perry.
A.T. Perry, man. Yeah. Man, that catch that A.T. Perry had, that touchdown catch where he just basically just like jumped over the dude. I was like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like,
A.T. Perry.
I like A.T. Perry though. Problem. Yeah, he's going to be a problem. A.T. Perry's going to be a problem. In the best way for us,
in the worst way for everyone else. Yeah.
Yeah, I like A.T. Perry. I like what I saw, and I like the fact that as a rookie, all he did was get better towards the end of the year.
And look, again, you look at that. Olave, Shaheed, A.T. Perry, we're paying them nothing. Hey, look, let's supplement them a little bit.
Right.
Let's see where we go.
And Kendra in that last game.
Yeah,
exactly. If Kendrick can stay healthy, which I think he will. I think this was his red shirt season. Kind of get yourself together, get your body healed up.
Yeah,
Kendrick's going to be a problem as well. So the offense have the right pieces in place. Clint Kubiak, who I remember his dad, Gary Kubiak. Gary Kubiak was John Elway's backup in Denver. I remember that. And here's another piece of trivia. It was between Gary Kubiak and Sean Payton to get the job for the Saints.
Ooh.
That was there's two people that they were the finalists. And Payton actually wanted the Green Bay job. He really wanted the Green Bay job.
Yeah.
And then, but they wound up going with what's his name?
McCarthy.
McCarthy. And so he took the Saints job over, and the Saints took him over Kubiak, and the rest is history. But if they're going to run that offense, and that offense is a very successful offense with the zone blocking schemes for running, and they use a lot of motion because that's kind of what offenses are going to these days, where there's a lot of trickery. So and they just kind of put the stress on the defense. We have the players that can run that type of offense. So if the Saints are able to shore up their blocking, get better with run blocking, because we have. I mean, imagine if Christian McCaffrey is doing what he's doing in the 49ers offense. Imagine what Kamara is going to be able to do.
I mean, and that's the whole point, isn't it? The Kubiak appointment from the Shanahan tree.
Yeah.
And AK must be sitting there thinking, oh, okay.
If he brings Greasy with him as well. Oh,
yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Because Kamara works best in space. The problem was that he didn't have much space to work with this year in the past couple of seasons. They just, he pretty much was running in a phone box, and he just couldn't do what he had to do. When you put that guy in space, and man, when I tell you, he's still, I mean, he's been in the league 7 years now already, but he's still young, and he still can make some moves. Like, and he's I think he's gonna have a nice year.
Hey, look, but the bottom line is,
he's the type of player who can keep going and going and going, like, because he knows that he's so clever.
Yes,
you could see him having. I'm not saying that it's going to be like Frank Gore, but going that deep into his career as a running back, he could do that.
But also, he's like
good mention with Frank Gore.
Everyone's spoken about his intelligence as a player. Peyton said probably one of the most intelligent footballers he's ever seen in his life. Mm-hmm. The bottom line for him is that you might be in a scheme that's going to actually assist you. For the last 3 years, he's been in a scheme where we're actually asked him to do something that he's not actually particularly good at. So I'm hoping he's excited about, hey, look, it might not work just because somebody's from a tree and, you know, maybe you're expecting it. It might not happen.
It's going to work. It's going to work. It's going to work.
All right, sorry, Dan.
It has to work. It has to work.
It has to work.
Yeah. All right.
Look,
it has
to work with Dennis. He's
note, I think on that positive note, maybe we should end the pod and thank Brian very much for being part of it.
It's
genuinely
my favorite episode we've ever done. I've loved every single fucking minute.
Man, thank you for having
me. You're a legend. Man. Love it.
That karaoke section will never die.
Never, ever.
I'm glad I'm part of something that will outlive us.
yeah, exactly, Brian. So. Exactly. Hey, Brian, you take care of yourself, my friend.
Take care, fellas.
Yeah.
Happy Mardi Gras, y'all.
Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
Happy Mardi Gras, everyone.
All right, take care.
Take care, guys.
Yeah,
bye.